Meet Max. He's a golden puppy whose early life is defined by the security of a sunlit backyard and the predictability of a fenced perimeter. His daily activities are simple and domestic. He spends his time chasing butterflies, gathering socks, and remaining in close physical contact with his owner, Emma. Their relationship functions as a primary emotional partnership, with Max and Emma providing constant reciprocal feedback to one another throughout the day. In this environment, Max's safety and happiness are tied directly to his proximity to Emma. As long as she is present, his world remains stable. That stability is tested during a trip to a high-density environment, a crowded weekend market. For a puppy used to a quiet backyard, the market is a flood of sensory data. He is suddenly navigating towering crowds, unknown scents, and a constant low roar of urban activity. The sudden roar of a passing motorcycle triggers an immediate flight response. Max violently yanks backward in a moment of pure panic. The force causes the leash to slip from Emma's hand. Max bolts blindly into the crowd, seeking an exit from the noise. The urban environment is immediately hostile. Every familiar face is replaced by strangers, and the air is filled with the echoes of engines and shouting. Within seconds, the physical link to Emma is gone, leaving Max isolated in a city he doesn't understand. The first night alone introduces severe physical stressors: cold rain, hunger, and the exhaustion of constant movement without a safe place to rest. His survival depends on a critical intervention from Rocky, an experienced stray who recognizes that a domestic puppy cannot navigate the streets alone. Rocky provides a mental map of the city's mechanics. He identifies reliable water sources and highlights high-risk hazard zones where traffic is most dangerous. Max navigates the grid using these new rules, moving between safe zones and avoiding intersections where he originally got lost. A local bakery owner becomes a secondary factor in his survival, leaving out daily portions of bread and fresh water that provide a baseline of caloric intake. Max stays alive because an unlikely community of street allies creates a temporary safety net, bridging the gap between his domestic past and his current reality. While Max survives on the streets, Emma launches a systematic search, starting with physical posters and localized calls to animal shelters. This network diagram shows how the effort scales. A single missing puppy report multiplies as digital community groups share Max's image, reaching thousands across the city. The search peaks when local media broadcasts the story, making his return a collective priority. However, as the weeks pass, public engagement naturally declines. Neighbors return to their routines, and the active search parties eventually disband. Although the statistical chances of a recovery have plummeted, Emma's refusal to stop looking remains the only active link between them. Weeks into his journey, Max wanders into a residential neighborhood far from the market, moving based on instinct rather than a known route. He abruptly locks on to an environmental trigger. His body goes rigid, and he begins scanning the air with his nose. The wind is carrying Emma's scent. It is a specific chemical signature that Max can isolate even through the heavy smells of the neighborhood. He accelerates toward the source, using the strengthening scent gradient to navigate past houses and trees with a focus that spatial memory alone couldn't provide. A dog's homing mechanism relies on a biological sensitivity to family-specific chemical signatures, allowing them to navigate across miles of unfamiliar terrain. The scent leads Max to a familiar blue house. He reaches the front door and begins barking, alerting everyone inside to his presence. The door opens, and the two parallel paths of the last several weeks finally converge as Emma sees her dog standing on the porch. Max sprints forward. The weeks of exposure and fear end the moment he is back in her arms. The search effort left a lasting impact on the neighborhood. Volunteers who had encountered Rocky while looking for Max later returned to the alley, eventually adopting the older dog into a permanent home. Max's return demonstrates that a dog's internal map centers on the family unit, creating a physical pull toward that location, regardless of the distance. If Max's story resonated with you, hit the subscribe button for more, and tell us in the comments, what steps would you take if you found a lost puppy in your area?